So, last time I gave Xiang Yu his own video, I did not take YouTube seriously at all, and definitely was not sober when I recorded that. Also, I made a DBZ Abridged reference, mostly because the glowing green energy, like, is a big ass robot dude. I referenced that he looked like Broly, or he reminded me of Broly. Only by design. The glowing green part, yeah. But I mean, like, this guy is like, when I made that video, I also did not know like how like good this person was as a character, period. Like, what was it? Summer 5, he fucking predicted like all of the shit that was happening before you even went to the singularity. Imaginary Scramble, he literally set it up so that you could survive long enough for him to like get back up. Like, this man's brain is like probably like 3 supercomputers. I'm not saying Moon Cell, he's nowhere as cognitive as the Moon Cell. Like, that is seeing into other fucking timelines. But yeah, this guy has ridiculous precognition. That's like kind of weird that he's actually a berserker when he's like this lucid. Anyway, let's give the man the respect he deserves, because he's not like a D tier SSR. He's not. He's just not fitting into the current meta. All it takes is a new buff or a new support, and servants that can't do anything can do something. So what? Base attack? Oh yeah, actually, no. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Last recording, I was talking about how he can loop and that you needed like 30. I forgot you can just run double Oberon. Like, give him a K scope, run double Oberon and like 1 Skadi. All you need for him to loop is get him to loop 10%. You just need 10%, and then this man can 3 turn. Is it super optimal? No. Is it practical? No. Are you doing it just for shits and giggles? Pretty much. But isn't that what a lot of people do for this game? Like, if you have this guy, why let him just like sit in the back line when he can actually farm for himself? Me personally, that's gonna be like a last thing I do, mostly because I like being a little more efficient. But if you're using a 50% CE, there's no difference between that using that in a K scope and like all farming practicality. If you're not using a support CE, you're not using a support CE. Again, that is me personally, like hyper focused on like always trying to get like progress with something. Like, you let's just say you're not starting him from 0, and you'll barely be able to start him from 50. That's just how he's built right now. All right, let's get started with the actual content. Base attack, 11.6k attack. It is above the midpoint. I'm trying not to say average, because average is different from midpoint. Yeah, he's above 500, which is a good value. He's also Berserker, so he's effective against most classes, doing 1.5 damage. And he also, the Berserker class itself also has a positive damage multiplier. So you do more damage than a servant of a different class that has the same attack. HP, surprisingly, it's actually higher than his base attack, which is weird for a Berserker. Usually it's about the same. Usually these two numbers are closer, but more HP is more HP. Star weight, Berserker number. Star gen, Berserker number. Epi charge, 0.51%, rocking a triple buster. I don't know why they wanted this number. Actually, I do know, but I don't agree with it. They balance MP gain with hit count, but usually Berserkers have a higher MP gain because they have triple buster. Xiang Yu has ridiculous hit counts across the board. especially on the quick. The 6-hit quick is nuts. Nightingale has it, Drake has it. Despite being a Berserker, this thing actually generates a lot of stars. Like, I've seen Nightingale's quick card at the end of a chain drop 10 stars, I think. Yeah, because like her Brave chain actually dropped 27 stars. Like, it was a mighty chain though, so bonus star gen across the board. But that's still a lot for a Berserker. That's more than you'd think a Berserker could ever drop. So his enemy charge being this low, it makes him refunding an issue. It's why he's not showing on 3-turn lists. He doesn't loop that well. Needing double Oberon to loop means your damage is going to be scuffed. But he's a Berserker. He can kind of brute force it because he's always going to be effective. Yeah. He has a quick MP, so like even with his base star gen, he's gonna drop a good amount of stars, just not as much as what you would want. Like, he doesn't have super high hit counts, but he's less concerned about MP damage. He is way more concerned about face card damage. I know I kind of debated on that, like talking about his looping, but that's mostly because he's an AoE. You want your AoEs to be able to loop. You want to be able to farm with them. You want to be able to see their MPs. That's what they're for. Let us get started. First skill has already been buffed. It was a dodge for 1 turn and 50% crit damage. That wasn't enough. So they made it 100%, and they gave him the nice Berserker star weight that guarantees he gets all the stars. What's beautiful about this is its general crit damage. It's not specific to either Buster or Quick or even arts. So if you're doing like just a Brave chain in general of like all face cards, all crits, all of them are gonna get buffed up. Which you gotta plan for this. This is only 1 turn though. You get 1 turn of popping off, and then I'm not the biggest, because this can lead to more damage than an MP. It really can. So I treat this as if it's his mana burst, like the big jump in damage, but it's also tied to a dodge, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Luckily, unlike a mana burst, you just need cards for this. You don't need to have your MP maxed out. And in my opinion, it is easier to have a card with good crit value while you have star weight like this, or having an MP at any given time. I mean, it depends on your sports. Like in a boss fight, like some of that might not be guaranteed, like having your cards or your MP ready. And farming, you're pretty much always gonna have your MP ready, so this doesn't really come up unless you're doing like an event, doing a quest, stuff like that. This is very helpful when you know you're fighting something really tanky. Like, you are going to eviscerate them, especially if you have Ruler Skadi, and especially if it's a Brave Buster chain. Like, holy shit, the amount of damage you're gonna fucking do. Second skill, 30% quick, 30% buster, both on a 3-turn cooldown or 3-turn duration with a 5-turn cooldown. So very good uptime on this. And 50 more crit damage, 50% more crit damage, and it's general still. So by default, he has 150% crit damage that isn't card reliant. Yes, he has the triple buster, but like crit damage isn't card reliant. So you like, again, you can use him with Vitch, you can use him with Ruler Skadi. That is who he'll get the most benefit from. But if you want to farm, you're gonna need Oberon, 2 of them. I would never trust his refund. Third skill, 10 stars per turn and ignores invincibility. That is very, very nice to have on a Berserker. The worst thing that could happen is the Berserker isn't doing damage, and then on the opponent's team, they just get eviscerated. If they're gonna die, at least let them do damage. 10 stars per turn is nice, but it's not gonna help that much. It really does help that his MP is quick though. So like if you lead with it, the Buster card will get an extra 20% crit damage. And if you don't want to do a mighty chain, you just do MP Buster. It won't result in the most damage output, but if you're using the MP, you might as well get the benefit of leading. You could also do a mighty chain on that. You're more likely gonna have a Buster card than either of these two though. Passive skills, misfortune enhancement. So different from madness enhancement. 8% buster and 8% crit damage. He has 158 crit damage in his kit. Yes, he does not have that all the time, but his supports will let him have better crit damage all the time. Mana loading versus extra attack, because we're ignoring this. If you treat him more like a single target DPS, like a crit servant, then you should go extra attack. But if you want to, if you're bored, you can go mana loading, but only if you don't already have a super scope. If you already have a super scope, just go extra attack, because right now he does not have any battery whatsoever. There isn't. I already said like a scuff setup for him with super scope, double Oberon, and a Skadi. Like, if you have the super scope, you don't need this. It's not gonna come up. But this will a lot. If you do a Brave Buster Chain and you have this, it is going to do so much damage. Like a lot of damage. I'm not joking for how much this extra attack does on Berserkers with high attack. The better the CE you use on him, a super scope at level 100 plus the foes, his attack is at 14 600. Like extra attack scales off your base attack for damage. Or not your base attack, it scales off your attack for damage. So any like attack buffs, him having high base attack, all of that will affect his damage. It is not upgraded and you do more damage. Yeah, this on him in a lot of scenarios is just gonna be like flat out better. And I know not everyone has a super scope. I know that. I'm not blind to that. So if you don't have it, again, go for this. It will let you do it, because you can have you are more likely to have Oberon and a Skadi than you are a super scope. That is the honest truth. Because super scope, you need to get it 5 times. Good luck with that. All right, his MP, also why there is some synergy with Oberon. 5-hit AoE quick, damage to all enemies, normal scaling, increases MP damage for 1 turn at 20%. He needs an MP buff. Flat out, he needs an MP buff because there is no normal effect. I would say he needs the MP buff more than he needs like a skill buff. Like, this is kind of weak. I'm not gonna lie. This is the ignore invincibility on such a like high uptime though is like what keeps his skill from me saying it needs to get buffed. This is ridiculous. Like most of the ignore invincibility skills are on 3-turn duration or 1 turn on a 6-turn cooldown. He has this a lot. You don't need to invest in CEs or supports that give him ignore invincibility. He can always do his job as a berserker and hit people really, really hard. MP though, like, it's 5 hits. There's no effect. MP damage for hitting overkill quicker. That's it. In his optimal setup for farming, you need to give up a Skadi for an Oberon. So your refund by default isn't going to be that good. Your star gen by default isn't going to be that good. You're investing so heavily in brute forcing that you're not making him stand out better. They could really go two directions with buffing his MP. Either they give him like crit ramp up, which I think would be absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like this man will have so much goddamn crit in his kit. It's going to be stupid. Like the buffed MP will let him hit overkill quicker, thus his refund will be better. And I feel that's a better buff than like giving him a battery on one of these skills. Probably this one. They would probably slap a 30 on it and call it a day. I don't agree with that. I don't want that to be his next buff. He is not fully designed to be 3-turning. He should be brought to boss fights. I bring up the farming because it's something any AoE can really do with Oberon. Or at least any AoE that has at least some charge in their kit or can make charge. Because it's not hard for a quick servant to make 10% off 3 enemies. It is very hard to get them to do that off 1. All right. Go to skills. He needs bullets. He needs a lot of bullets. Oh, yeah, he needs a lot of bullets. That is 44, 132, 60, 161. 161 bullets. If you just got bitch, good fucking luck. And then he needs proofs. And he needs the tar. Spawn CE. Buster and Quick up 10% while he's on the field. He is not a servant you should be summoning for. Straight up. Don't summon for him. I really should have said that at the start of the video, but you should not be summoning for him actively. He is a permanent servant. Li Shuin yesterday had more value in summoning for it because he was story locked. You couldn't get spooked by it. You have to actively summon for him or pull him off the ticket like I did. I'm never going to summon for him actively. I don't agree with Li Shuin's kit. Xiang Yu you can get spooked by. A lot of people would have him because, or more people would have him than Li Shuin. Yeah. JP, like we see on JP that like they're going to give us choices. They're going to throw more banners at us because pity exists. They're not gonna have rotating banners. They're just gonna have a shit ton of banners at the same time. Spend your quartz wisely. Don't just summon on any random banner just because you want to. Summon on banners you want servants on. You can do the daily that's what the daily disappointment is for. The single paid quartz a day. Like if you want to just gamba, like you want to try to get the servant but not actively try, just do that. That will last you so long. Like it's, I'm not saying to like spend money on the game, but if that's your intention, you want to try rolling on every banner, just get the daily disappointment. Just do that every day, and eventually you'll get a 5-star. Eventually you will get lucky and get servants off that. It happens more time than you think. Okusai is one of those servants I got off a single pull. Koyanskaya of Darkness, or no, Koyanskaya of Light is someone I got off a ticket. And I believe I've gotten at least 2 Castorias off tickets on different accounts. The odds, you don't have to roll multis every single time. You gotta start watching your quartz because things are, after Oberon, all servants that come out are like quality of life servants until next summer. Then we get back to these are the meta servants you need to summon for in Ibuki if you need, like, if you want to replace every single farmer you have, and then summer Skadi. Xiang Yu. Oh shit, he spooked me. I fucking remember why I have this guy on my alt now. He spooked me on Summer Skadi on my alt account. Wow, way to end the video on a sour note. All right, yeah, I'm letting this alt out. Get it. If you have him, when Oberon comes out, you're eventually going to be able to use him for farming. He's not that bad. And with Summer Skadi, he has effectively 3 cards that can get roided out on Buster crit damage, to the point that you, like, if you're not using double Oberon, you're gonna have, what is this, 350% crit damage, Buster crit damage for a turn. Bring in a Vitch and make that flat 400 with Buster up, like 80% Buster up, no, 110. He can put out really good crit damage. Temporary expectations for him. Kind of a mess of a video, just blurting my thoughts out, but this is honestly a mess of a character. He's not worse than Astolfo. He is better built than Saber Astolfo. That is a confused mess of a kid. But oh well. I'll see you guys in the next time. Peace. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.